Hi, I'm JC Pohl with Teen Truth. I am just so honored and privileged that Lifetouch could give us the opportunity to come together today and just talk about how to pull your school community together and how to build amazing student leaders, and of course the importance of your yearbook and some of the work that you're doing on campus with regards to empowering student voice. As we all know, this COVID crisis has impacted many of us. In fact, it's impacted all of us, right? You as a teacher and your students have had school canceled, you've had classes canceled, you're seeing things go virtual. Your seniors have had graduation canceled or delayed. You've had prom and sporting events canceled. Funerals and weddings and just family get-togethers have been impacted by this. And it's been a lot for students to handle. And at Teen Truth, we work in schools throughout the country, and we've met so many students, and I can just imagine, how students are struggling to process what they're going through. In fact, I wanted to introduce you here at the beginning of this program to one of the students I met on the road named Katelyn. I want to show you Katelyn right here with her softball team. Katelyn really is involved in school. She loves playing softball with her friends, and she was a cheerleader, for the football and basketball teams and everything, and is a great asset and student leader on her campus. And you can see right here, I love this picture that they actually put up on Facebook at her school where they kind of recognized the softball team. It's kind of a unique picture, right? A very unique picture to kind of recognize the team as they were not able to complete their season. And of course, Katelyn, what's unique about her is she's a senior right now. And so she's going to be graduating here at the end of the semester and going off to Louisiana Tech, and is super excited. But Katelyn's worked very hard over the years to get to where she is at today. This isn't something that just happened overnight. And instead of me just sitting here and kind of telling you about Katelyn's story, because that's not really what Teen Truth is all about. We're all about giving students a voice. I want to let Katelyn tell you a little bit about her life.
Hi, my name's Katelyn, and I'm a senior at Laurelville High School. Just like JC said, with the COVID-19 pandemic going on, it's been very hard and it's been a struggle for a lot of us. Before this pandemic went on, I cheered for my school's football team, and more recently, I played on my school's softball team. Since I was a little girl, me and my friends worked really hard to be at the top of our class, and recently we've been named valedictorian. I had a speech written, all of us worked really hard, and we looked forward to this moment, and it might not happen because of COVID. What's been getting me through this time is the friends and the connections that I've made throughout my time at school. And I wonder what our school's yearbooks can do to help with those connections in the future.
And Katelyn said it so well right there. This is something that she has been building up for years, working with her friends to become that valedictorian, to enjoy that time with friends. And I love what she said about how her friends and her connections at school are what hold her together. And she's wondering how her yearbook and some of the work that her school is doing can continue to hold her together and help her have those happy memories during this challenging time. Challenging times are hard for so many of us. But if you think about your life, if I asked you, and I won't ask you right now, but if I asked you to close your eyes and think about a challenging time in your life, I can guarantee you, I bet 99.9% of you would say that those challenging times provided growth and opportunity in your life. Teen Truth has found a lot of growth and opportunity in challenging times. For those of you that don't know Teen Truth, we actually started many years ago as a creative response to the Columbine high school tragedy. When Columbine happened, we were just young filmmakers living in Los Angeles at the time, and we really felt like no one was giving kids a voice around that issue. And so long story short is we ended up saving up some money and recruiting 5 students to carry cameras for us, and we ended up making our first film, the Teen Truth Bully and School Violence film. This film actually premiered back in 2006, but it was a huge success. It actually broke records for our distributor and became one of the top-selling anti-bully films in the country. And with that success, we had the opportunity to go on and make films on drugs and alcohol abuse, body image and self-esteem, and parenting and family communication. So yes, we actually gave kids cameras to tell parents how to be better parents and tell families how to be stronger families. And for the last 15 years, we've been on the road visiting middle schools and high schools, hosting assemblies and leadership summits at campuses. And we've been able to impact an estimated 10 million students during that time. And we believe that our films have actually reached about 7,000 schools around the world, not to mention everyone that they've impacted on YouTube or on Amazon. And the reason why I want to point that out to you at the beginning of this session is that Columbine obviously is something very negative that happened in our country. It was a horrible tragedy, but it changed education forever. It changed the way we looked at school culture, the way we looked at bullying, and it allowed companies like Teen Truth or Rachel's Challenge or Challenge Day and some of the companies that kind of grew out of that time to go on and positively impact students and schools across the country at countless numbers and countless rates. And so as we sit back and look at COVID-19 and the crisis that we're going through right now, I can't help but wonder if this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for you. As a yearbook advisor, as someone who is grooming and helping students find their voice through yearbook or through podcasting or through student journalism, as someone who is nurturing that voice in students, I am wondering if this COVID crisis could serve as an amazing once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to grow some amazing student leaders. One of the reasons I was so fired up to do this video for you today is because when Lifetouch reached out to us, they said that some of their schools and some of their clients were actually thinking, because of all the stress and everything that we're going through, of canceling the yearbook. Canceling the yearbook. We're not going to finish it. It's too much. No way. And Lifetouch is like, whoa, hold on. The yearbook could be an extremely important opportunity for us to grab all this information, for us to celebrate student voice during this time, and for us to truly build school culture and kind of go beyond the book, right? Like, it's not about pages in a book. It's about life being captured. You've captured so much this school year. Your fall sports, your rallies, your dances, everything that you did during the wintertime, all of your campus life. I know the last 2 or 3 months of school has been impacted, but school is still happening. Your students are still living and breathing. They are still part of your school culture and they still have a voice. There are so many things still going on in your school culture right now. Teachers are hosting interactive Zoom calls. Students are gathering, families are gathering on interactive web calls via Zoom or Facebook or FaceTime, whatever it might be. You're seeing social media challenges where kids and adults are going out and doing positive things on social media and creating amazing things to inspire people during this time. You're seeing students have the opportunity to spend time at home with family, to reconnect with siblings, to spend time reconnecting with themselves. And of course, every student, 99% of your students have a cell phone. All of this stuff can be captured. And so the reason why I'm pretty fired up right now is because as someone who's been working on school culture for 15 years, I'm like, whoa, this is an amazing opportunity. This yearbook has to be completed. We have to capture this, not only for our class of 2020 graduating seniors, but we've got to capture it for everyone in our school culture. Not just the seniors, but the juniors, the freshmen, the 8th graders, the 6th graders, the 4th graders, the parents, the teachers, everyone experiencing this right now needs to be able to remember it. And for you as a yearbook advisor or a leader on campus, guiding your students through this process, I believe can be invaluable. And the reason I believe it can be invaluable is because of my work with Teen Truth. I've worked with many schools and many students who have been on the edge, right? I've sat in the room with those students who have been bullied to the point where they're thinking of suicide. I've been there on campus with the students who are cutting themselves or thinking of retaliating because of what someone has done to them or the experience that they've had in home or their life. And as a speaker, as a filmmaker visiting campuses, this was very difficult for me because I quickly started to realize that I didn't have the tools in my tool belt to really be having these conversations with students. So a few years back, I put the brakes on everything. I moved out to Austin, Texas, and I applied to Texas State to get my master's in professional counseling. And now I'm a marriage and family therapist, working with students, working with adults to help them work through challenges and overcome adversity. And I believe in resilience. I believe that every single one of us face challenges in our life and we all get knocked down. But it's how we respond, right? It's how we take the hits and keep moving forward. And because of my work with Teen Truth and my work as a counselor, I've been able to kind of take some of those experiences, some of those stories that I've heard and the kids I've met on the road and put them into a book called Building Resilient Students from the Inside Out. And in this book, we looked at 5 keys to mental health. They're usually the keys that I speak on when I keynote a conference or do an education training at a school or at a district. And these 5 keys to mental health are things like charismatic adults, all right, adults that can speak into a student's heart at just the right time. I'm having those true connections in our life, those real face-to-face relationships. Letting students know they're not alone in some of the mental health challenges that they face and the feelings that they're going through. Encouraging students to focus on solutions as opposed to problems, really having that solution-focused approach to life. And then, of course, self-efficacy. Do our students believe that they can accomplish things? Do they believe in themselves? And today, we don't have time to look at all 5 of these keys to mental health, but I want to dig deep into one of them right now with you, because I think that this could be a game changer for your school, for your students, and for your work as a school community during the COVID crisis. And that is the idea of charismatic adults. The reason why I chose to focus so much on charismatic adults as a key to resiliency is because there's been a ton of research around it. I want to introduce you right now to Dr. Robert Brooks. Dr. Brooks is an expert on student resiliency. He speaks all around the world on this topic, and he's done a ton of research around student resiliency. And in his research, he has found that the number 1 factor in student resiliency is a charismatic adult. Someone the student can look to during a time of crisis, during a time of adversity, someone that can hear and feel what the student is going through and speak right into their heart at just the right time. In particular, during their growing years, like middle school, high school, maybe college. And I'm sure you can maybe remember someone in your life that spoke into your heart at just the right time. For me, it was my football coaches. For you, it might have been a teacher. It might have been a grandparent. It could have been someone from church or someone from the neighborhood. It could have been someone from the Boys and Girls Club or a camp that you went to maybe. These charismatic adults, while we might only spend a small bit of time with them, the things that they teach us, the things that they say to us, their ability to speak into our hearts can change who we are dramatically. And this is why I feel this COVID crisis is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for you and your students. Because newsflash, you're that charismatic adult. And how you handle this challenge, how you pull your school community together right now, how you celebrate some of those events that I mentioned earlier, the Zoom calls, the social media stuff, the idea that every student has a cell phone, how you find a way to celebrate this could simply be amazing. And this is what I believe creates resiliency, but it also creates a self-driven child. I want to introduce you right now to the most powerful book I've ever read. Yes, I like my book that I wrote, but this book is a game changer. The Self-Driven Child. I love this book so much that I called the authors up and they were kind enough to send me about 50 copies that I give out to clients and I give out to principals that I feel could help. And in this book, they outline many different ways to build a self-driven child. But one of the things that they highlight that I think plays into our conversation here today is the consultant model. I want you to think about the word consultant, okay? You are a charismatic adult, you're a teacher, you're someone working with students, you might be a parent. In the role of a parent or a teacher, we tend to be more directive, right? We're, for lack of a better word, we're like telling people what to do, even though I know you're probably not telling people what to do on a regular basis, but we're kind of like implementing our plan on to our students, right? Well, what the authors of this book argue is that it would be much more powerful for our students if we could be more of a consultant, if we could ask questions. And I think this is key because think about your students as they've grown. I believe one of the reasons why mental health is such a big deal for our students right now, and the reason they're not so resilient, is because they feel like they have no control over their lives. I mean, think about it. From an early age, when they fell down and hurt their knee, someone picked them up when they could have picked themselves up. Maybe someone told them what sports to play, what activities to be involved in. Then they went to middle school and they had to take a class from maybe a teacher that they didn't really like. And then they went to high school and they had to take classes they didn't really like. And they really had no choice in their educational success and in their growth. Well, right now, we have been given 2 or 3 months of complete and ultimate choice, right? These kids are not in your classroom. They're not sitting in your seats. I don't have the opportunity to go to your school and speak to them sitting in a gym or sitting in a theater. They are sitting at home. And they have the ultimate choice right now to engage in their education and to engage in your yearbook, in your student journalism programs, and everything that you're doing to empower student voice. So I want to dive a little bit deeper into this consultant model before I leave you. So what the authors wrote out, and I apologize, their name is William Strixrud and Ned Johnson. Hopefully I pronounced that last name correctly for William. But I want to dig a little bit deeper into this model with you. And these are the 3 things that they lay out in the consultant model, is that our students are one of 3 things. One, and you've met these students in your work, they're unconsciously incompetent. So who is the student right now in your program that's unconsciously incompetent? That's the student that's like, I'm fine, I don't need to blank, I got this. I don't need to practice, it's cool, I don't need to study, I got the test, I sat in the class, I'm good. They think they got it, and you know, as a teacher, they don't. They fail the test, they lose the game, they crash and burn. And they face a very hard lesson, right? And what Ned and Bill in the book wrote that I think is really true is like, it's really important for students to learn that lesson, right? And that's what hopefully moves them to step 2 of this model. And that is the consciously incompetent student. So who is that student? Well, that's a student that does some of the work. They put forth some of the effort, but they take the test, they play the game, they still lose, they still fail, whatever it is, and they're like, wow, okay, that was a lot harder than I thought it was going to be. I wasn't as prepared as I thought I was. So they are aware that they were incompetent, right? And that helps us move them to the 3rd and most important stage, the place where we want to get our students to, and that's consciously incompetent. This is ultimate choice. This is the self-driven student, right? This is the resilient student. This is the student that has done the work and says, I will be fine. I am prepared. I can handle the challenge. I can pass the test. I can go out and I can win the game. Okay? We want our students to be consciously competent. And here's the opportunity in front of you right now. You have this blank canvas right now to finish this yearbook, to be the consultant, to ask your students, how are we going to get this finished? How are we going to complete this impossible task during this COVID crisis? And the answers that they come up with, and the solutions that they implement, and the work that you do over the next few weeks will help your students become consciously competent in other aspects of their life, because they will have worked with you through this difficult time. They will have built those skills, and they will have become better student leaders and better life leaders within themselves. And why is this so important? A, it makes them resilient, and B, it pulls your community together. These students will go out and reach out to students. They will build your yearbook. They will continue down their student journalism work that you've been doing with them all year long. And they will continue to build school culture. And that's what it's all about, right? Whether COVID's got us stuck at home or whether we get to being in a gym for an assembly with 2,000 kids, it's about being connected. And I think if you can take that message into your work with your students, get on that Zoom call, get on that messaging app, whatever it is that you're using for your distance learning classes, and figure a way to solve this problem, it'll be magic for you and your students. And so in closing, I want to just offer you two gifts and opportunities that I'm hoping you might want to take advantage of. They're completely free, so no strings attached, feel no obligation, just something that we want to offer to you through our work with Lifetouch and through our work with Teen Truth. First, if you're interested in having a deeper conversation with your students about student leadership, mental health, or their work on social media, I would like to invite you to go to teentruth.net/365. Teen Truth 365 is a new program that we've created where we offer free virtual assemblies to you and to schools across the country and around the world. The assemblies are on that page. If you would like to book one of our speakers to lead an interactive session, to jump on that Zoom call or that video call with you and have this type of conversation with your students, our speakers are available to do that as well. So go to teentruth.net/365 to watch the assemblies and look at this program. And then lastly, I want to just make an offer to you because I know how hard you're working and how much you care about student resiliency during this time. If you go to teentruth.net/resilient students, okay, see that slash there? teentruth.net/resilient students, you will be given the opportunity to download the first few chapters of this book for free. All right, like I said, no strings attached. Hopefully all the chapters are important, but I really believe these first few chapters are crucial for you to read because they are the chapters where we go in depth in this idea of a charismatic adult, and some of the information in those chapters might be able to help you right now. So teentruth.net/resilient students. Additionally, I know that Lifetouch has resources and information that they will get out to you as well. And I'm so happy and honored to be able to spend this time with you. And I just know that I'm rooting for you and here to support you in any way that I can.